Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sara F. Hathaway and co-host Chin Gibson, blending survival fiction and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sara F. Hathaway and Chin Gibson.
Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 483. I don't know what season we're on, and I don't know what episode of what season we're on. We're just going now. Like, I used to have the standard format, but we're just going now. So,
hey, sunspots getting to you?
Yeah, definitely. The biological effect. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. But hey, Chin, what's up?
I ran backstage to get a refill. And,
yeah, had to get another beer. I was like, oh no, I jinxed
crazy.
it.
I was looking on the screen. It said, you're backstage. Only the host can let you come back on the stage. I'm like, sorry.
Oh, crazy. Yeah.
I thought a CME took me out.
Right? It's so timely. It's so timely. Today it's not going to be anything that big, but we do have a big one coming at us. And with what's going on, I thought, wow, this is a great time to have this conversation. I actually went on a podcast called Language of the Soul, and it was very interesting. You guys should definitely check out that interview when it comes out. It was way more intellectual than I thought. I don't know what kind of preconceived, notions we get about things, but I certainly enjoyed myself, and I was just so surprised they didn't even know about the Carrington Event and some major things. They don't even know what a CME was at all. I was like, uh-oh, time to do some educating. It's like when I went to prepper camp the very first year, I was like asking a whole bunch of people, what's some, number one thing you'd love to learn about survival? And they're like, how to build a fire. How to build a fire. I was like, oh my God. Didn't that happen when you were like 5? Because I know for us, like, we always had burn piles and things like that. So I was just so surprised. So I actually did an article on how to build a fire. And same thing kind of happened today. That's why I wanted to do the CME presentation. Mm-hmm. All right. So we got a few people out there. It's time to get started, I think. Changing Earth. I've been busy, guys. So I haven't just been slacking now that I haven't been doing a weekly show. The audio drama, I'm working on videos for them to go up on Changing Earth on YouTube and on Rumble. And yeah, so this little birdie named Chin was like, oh, the videos, season 1, I just did like random videos. Now we got all this cool technology, right? So I can't help but bring the Changing Earth world to life. And so that's what I'm doing. It's just getting better and better. It's really, really fun. So now you're going to see slides that are like the crew and what's happening in the scene, And of course, I don't have like animations I do have, I'm working on that. But it's not a video. It's like stills because, believe it or not, they're very labor intensive. So I got rid of one project and picked up another, but very fun to see it come to life. So if you guys haven't checked that out yet, please check them out over on YouTube, over on Rumble. Leave a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff that helps it go farther, faster, because, that's been a lot of fun, and it's kind of cool to bring the show to life that way. As I mentioned before, I've been doing lots of interviews. So keep your eyes out for drops this summer. Every interview that I've done so far, it's just amazing how different conversations can be, even though I'm basically talking about the same thing, just the different directions people take it and whatnot. So each one's definitely worth checking out and experiencing because they've been really fun to do. Still working on the Las Vegas years. I just keep piling projects in front of it. Go figure. So, but I'm going, my goal is to have that done by September. So, that's my goal. So we'll see if I actually make it or not. And then I'm finishing up episodes 1 to 4 of season 5. And I've talked to James at PBN about this, Mr. Intrepid Commander. And we're going to make episodes 1 to 4 of season 5 subscriber material only. So you have to be a paid subscriber to Changing Earth or PBN to get a hold of season 5 as the prequel. It'll come out later in the year as it normally does, but it's going to be a little while because I've been working on the back content so much. So that, as I finish those up, though, the subscribers are going to get special drop to season 5. So have fun with that. That'll be cool. Alrighty, prepper camp's coming up. Are you guys gearing up yet, or are you at like the midway swing now? Chin?
Me?
Yep.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Gearing up.
It's always nonstop.
Prepper camp all year long. It's like the best family reunion ever, though.
I have to keep tabs on my inbox for all the buy now before the price goes up.
Yeah. Buy now before the price goes up. It's just silly not to. Really.
Procrastination costs you.
Yep. Really silly not to. So, what else do we got going on? My Patriot Supply. Go to Prepare with Changing Earth. If you guys need food backs, it's always good to filter in your long-term supplies with your short-term supplies. I always pick up a little bit here and there along the way. So if you go to preparewithchangingearth.com, that actually gives me affiliate money. So I'd really appreciate it if you're going to stock up on some long-term food supply, that you go there. I don't think we need to go over why you need it. You just have to listen to the show today and all of our past shows to know why you need it. Changing Earth. So millionpodcast.com came out with the 50 best survival podcasts, and we made number 11. So, woo! Thanks, guys, for making it happen. I know.
That's crazy.
Out of 50, which is pretty darn good. I think PBN made 3rd. So, I mean, that, in my book.
To be a breakout out of the whole network.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, there are some good ones. Oh, I'm going to be on Chuck Yeager's show, the Badass podcast. I think it's called Badass. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Anyway, I'll give you more information later, but coming up, we're going to be on that podcast, so I'm looking forward to it. I met him at the prepper camp last year. That was his first year, the hurricane year. Oh.
It was pretty badass.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know.
When we put on a prepper event, we put on a prepper
We bring
event.
it. We bring
this is
the
not
reality.
just walking through the booth buying, bail fangs and 550 cord.
I've seen people there on the rainy years, and I'm just, it's like there's more when it's raining, because if it ain't raining, you're not training. So everybody's there no matter what. Yeah.
Oh,
so anyway, thanks, guys, for helping make that, the show just what it is. If it wasn't for you guys, well, there wouldn't be much need to be here. So.
I'm quite concerned about what's coming next. Personally, I think we'll probably see food shortages and other disruptions. Are you prepared if things go wrong? Does your family have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? If not, the time to prepare is right now. Don't wait another minute. To help you on your journey, I recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the leaders in self-reliance, and they have a 4-week supply of emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage, so you never have to worry again. Don't put your family through the pain of hunger or standing in government food lines. Go to preparewithchangingearth.com today, and your emergency food will be shipped quickly and discreetly to your door. Those who know what's coming are using today to prepare. So visit preparewithchangingearth.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. Their mission is your survival. That's preparewithchangingearth.com.
Okay, so today we're talking about CMEs, and a little bit more in my wheelhouse than yours, but yeah, you are the man though with the Faraday cages.
Yeah, this is the one that I hate.
Right? Yeah.
I love teasing you about not driving through deep water, but I hate talking about CMEs and EMPs because all my gadgets will go away.
Yeah,
if I don't have them
bye-bye.
protected well.
Ding. And that's the truth of it, if
Yeah.
not exploding gadgets, which could be even
It's
more
like a
fun.
nightmare for me.
Yeah. We have pegged the Chin Diesel nightmare.
No
Yes.
gadgets. I'm sitting here with a computer, a tablet, and a cell phone all in front of me.
Yeah, all surrounded. Yeah, I am surrounded by computer screens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know. My world would be pretty much, everybody's world's going to be a much different place. So, September 1st, 1859, telegraphs were like the cat's meow.
Smoking.
Right? That was, whoo! You had a telegraph, you were something else. And Richard Carrington, which is why it's called the Carrington Event, was looking through his telescope, and he sees these two blinding patches of light erupt from the sun.
What was he looking at the sun for?
On a telescope. Like, didn't his mom teach him that'll go blind or something? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe they were
Maybe he
just
had the
learning.
piece of paper at the other end that he was looking at.
Right. Oh, yeah. The little slit. Trying to look through it.
Yeah.
So 17.6 hours later, massive wave of charged particles slams into the Earth. The aurora stretched as far south as Cuba, which is highly unusual.
You think?
Yeah. But we've been seeing it more and more often, and there's a reason for that. So that's the little warning in it all. And it's not all beauty. So when this CME hits, it explodes, literally exploded the telegraph wires. That's what makes it so monumental was we went, oh, that could be a problem, right?
Yeah, because they were one big, huge antenna just capturing all that radiation.
Right. And it's interesting, too, the energy, it supercharges Earth. Tesla actually talked a lot about power systems where we can feed it through the planet, and he could plug a light bulb into the Earth, and it would light up 10 miles
The ultimate
away.
wireless charger, huh?
Yes. Yeah. You just touch to the Earth, right? And that was another, we'll get there, but it said, to acclimate yourself, you could take your shoes off and stand outside after it's done to bring your energy back to the Earth's energy. I'm like, okay, what are you guys smoking back there, Gronk?
Yeah, you go stand on the grass first, and if you don't light up, I'll come stand on the grass.
Yeah, that's in my series. Oh, no more snipers. Okay, you stand up first. We'll see how that works out before I do. Yeah. So what is a CME? A CME is a coronal mass ejection from the sun. It's literally a burst of plasma and magnetic fields. They're magnificent to watch. They just roll off of the sun. And sometimes we can be in the way. Thank God, most of the time we're not, because this is some serious energy that gets just blasted off of the sun. They travel at speeds from 250 to 3,000 kilometers per second. So it just depends on how rapid that release is and what that discharge looks like. It can be short duration that happen very quickly, or longer duration where they take a longer amount of time to come in. So it's all about what is their frequency. Oh, you love frequencies. See? This is your wheelhouse. See? It's all about their frequency and then the duration. So that's how it's going to impact us if we're in the way. Which, when you look at the Earth compared to the sun, we're so little floating around it. They go off every direction. So it's got to literally be a perfect scenario. So most of the time, what's affected? Well, stuff in space gets affected first. So Phoenix Survival, Miss Jordan, hello Miss Jordan. She's asked me if there's expected time frame for the G4. We have one coming towards us right now. It's supposed to hit tonight. it was a long duration, like high M class, but because it was a long duration, they are expecting bigger impact from the CME. Definitely not going to be like lights out. Well, shouldn't be. But you might want to put some of those gadgets, Chin, in your cage for tonight.
I keep gadgets in the cage.
Yeah, put your gadgets in their cage. Little animals. So, it's supposed to hit tonight. And it could definitely be tomorrow. A big peg of it did hit this morning. So we are starting to see things. So space is going to be affected first. Then it's going to be like upper orbit stuff. Satellites. Starlink had just let off a whole bunch of new satellites. Everybody was talking about what are these? Why are they lighting so many off? Well, a few months ago, we had a big CME that took out like 70 of their satellites or something. It was basically like Elon Musk. So
he got doged.
He did. I assume they were doing some replacement on those suckers and probably shielding them up a little bit. They do talk about like people who fly a lot, pilots, flight attendants, getting more exposure to this radiation and whatnot when it is definitely in a high impact time zone. So the G4, quote unquote, the G4, they measure these on a scale from like G1 to G5. G5 is like the Carrington Event. It's like the most we've ever seen. Suspicious Observers, if you want to learn more about this, I mean, he is your guy. He's who I've been over at Suspicious Observers. I watch every morning just to see what the sun's doing. And he is definitely your guy to understand like how all this works and then go from there. But because the Carrington Event was like the biggest impact that we've ever seen from a CME, that is kind of our benchmark of the worst. Does that make sense? The G4,
it does.
The G scale. And then the song like a G6, like a G. You don't want it to be like a G6 because you could be done for.
I already put up with your frequency, Kenneth.
Yeah.
This is going to be a whole montage of songs.
Yeah, it's true. So that's definitely, the ratings are important. Now, when I was doing my research using AI and stuff, it's like, oh, well, it's never been proven that it could remove our magnetic shielding, our atmosphere, or completely destroy the Earth. But, like, the sun is huge. And I'm sure it wouldn't be recorded in history if it's happened in the past, because there'd be nobody left to record it, So, we don't know what would, happen then, but that is the risk of living on planet Earth, right? Elon's got to get his Mars mission going a little better, I guess. But a CME could definitely destroy, like, technology as we know it. And I'm talking not just destroy, but, like, explode technology as we know it. One of the biggest things at risk is the transformers that either take energy volts up or take them down. They're highly sensitive to this type of energy that comes in from the sun, and they will completely melt down. I didn't look into the background of where they're made, but I can guess I know where the majority of them are made, and it's not in the United States of America. I bet you it's over in China. So that could be a big problem for the United States if we had something like this. I would love to know, like, do we have them stored? I mean, they've been talking about this for years, with, like, especially with 1 second after, the book 1 second after.
Yeah.
Then the EMP effect. They've had a lot of military people in high spots warning about this type of activity for years. So hopefully the powers that be have our back, but you know how I feel about relying on them.
Will it make the investors money? So
Yeah. Yeah, and what does life look like after that, right? So they're saying a G5 storm would put power grids down, exploding transformers, months, years, damages in the trillions of dollars in the U.S. alone. So, and this would be a global effect. It's something that would burn the worst in one spot and then radiate to the rest of the planet. It wouldn't just kill our tech, okay? We've talked about if the power goes down, I always like to use like warm and fuzzy estimates because I would like to believe that people would band together instead of like a Mad Max type scenario. But they're saying within like 6 months, 80% of the population will be gone. And,
that's pretty intense.
Right? And that's a warm, fuzzy estimate. There's a lot of people on medications these days that are just completely reliant upon those. There's a lot of people...
Between electricity and refrigeration.
And communication.
Devices, yeah. Between and the medication that requires refrigeration, and then devices that require electricity, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we got a lot of alcoholics and stuff like that as well. Everybody that doesn't have those things are going to be in a hurting position. I mean...
We don't like warm beer.
No. Right? All of our technology, though... It's our supply chains. It's our everything. And now that we're moving to such a global, nationalized or global system, we don't have the local resources to be able to just, alter what they're doing to be able to support the local population. So we definitely need to invest in our local growing. I was encouraged. I heard word that Trump was going to do some type of subsidizing for local growers. That's something that I would actually be behind big time. So, again, they don't think it would actually destroy the earth, but it's going to be a really, really scary situation. So, why did I talk about how weird it was to see the auroras down to Cuba? Because they don't normally do that. And we've had, I believe, 2 already this year that have gone down to Cuba. We're supposed to see them in Texas tonight, the Aurora Borealis. So everybody should be outside tonight, seeing what you can see.
They're called the Northern Lights, right? So
right, the Aurora Borealis.
They're typically something you see up in the northern.
Exactly. Like Alaska and stuff. Sometimes it reached down into like Minnesota, stuff like that, like commonly. But, it's supposed to be a northern thing. Green is like the healthy planet. The pink was like really unusual to see pink aurora, and now it's happening all the time. So that evidence and the measurements that they've done, we're definitely losing our magnetic shielding. So they think that we've lost about 20% since 1859. And that is a very, very, very...
warm and fuzzy?
Warm and fuzzy. Yeah. Yeah. Because there's charts that just show, like, just since the 80s even, it's just happening more rapidly now. There's the South Atlantic anomaly. It's this weak spot in our ozone layer over South America and the Southern Atlantic. It's growing and weakening that whole system further. So remember back in the day when they said it was from aerosol cans? Yeah. And we all quit using Aquanet.
It was the 80s bands, the big hair bands of the 80s.
I know. So actually, no, this is a lot of solar activity that takes place. It's now, they say, at 30% of the global average field strength. And our poles, you guys have been listening to me say it, our poles are on the move, and they're still moving. They are moving 50 to 60 kilometers per year towards Siberia. Nobody can really deny that anymore. Like, nobody can be like, oh, well, this is, because they wobble, right? It's not always the same. But usually it goes back. Now it's like, it's on the move. You can't deny it. There's something that's going on. So exciting time to be alive. So they're saying the weakened shield means that smaller CMEs are going to do more damage. A CME 1/10 the size of the Carrington Event, 1/10, with a mass of 160 billion kilograms, speed of 1,000 kilometers, might have caused a minor G2 storm in 1859. But now they're causing radio blackouts. We saw that thing in Spain about their blackouts and that. Honestly, I don't know, because I was watching the solar activity around that event, and I was like, they're like, oh, solar activity. I'm like, was it though?
There was talk about it was human interaction.
That's where I'm leaning more towards.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, I don't think it was. Because I was watching all the activity around then. But it definitely can. Radio, the lower technology is affected first. GPS technology would be affected. And then we get into big systems like our internet systems, any kind of network, gaming networks, bank networks, things like that can all be affected by this.
There's a ton of stuff that runs off of GPS nowadays.
Yes.
Not just, Google Maps in your car.
Trying to find your way.
Tons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the tractors that are plowing the fields.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of machinery. Yep.
All the planes, all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
So with the thinner shield, it means more particles can get through. That means increased radiation risk for the planes. Of course, the astronauts, they're not even their upper atmosphere. So it just makes us really, really vulnerable. So, like I said, it doesn't just turn your lights off. It's literally exploding things, okay? And I've even heard it said, like, if you have metal in your body, it could hit towards the metal. The good news that I've found out is that, like, most pacemakers, things like that, come with, like, a shielding against electrical influence from outside. An outside electrical influence. Because that would be crazy, right? Everybody just, yeah. We won't even talk about that. But, so yeah, it's not good. The electrical grid's going to take a lot of time to get back on. So it's not just like we can fix this really, really quickly. Then we've talked about all the problems that come with that. You don't have any of your connectivity that used to have to find out news in your networks. Chin. So that's going to be a big deal, right?
Well, as long as my radios come out of their Faraday cages and all my buddies' radios come out of the Faraday cages, I have a little bit of communication.
That's true.
I don't know about you and I'll do the show, but I have a little bit of communication.
Don't think so. Cars. Like all the cars now have computers. So you have to really, really, really have an older vehicle that has like no electrical in it. GPS, satellites, radio, all fried. So we're basically back to steam engines.
What about all the electronic financing? Is like all your your cash registers and credit card processing and all.
You would
be able to go to the store and buy anything or get gas for your car even if it still ran.
So that's why I always recommend having cash like stashed and having small bills. Because if you only have $100 and the bread's 10,
I always have my singles in my pocket.
Right? Yeah. But the value of cash, like you might as well go out and spend your cash as soon as something like this happens. Because the value of cash is going to go down. It's going to just go down. So, I would probably try and like get rid of it at the start because you know that it's not going to be there forever. Alrighty. This is a lot of screens to keep track of. I'm like,
I know.
I'm busy. I'm busy during my podcast.
I see the chat going on in the streaming thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Not much activity over in Element right now.
I've told everybody to come on over to Twitter.
Yeah.
That's the one I like to listen to it best on. Rumble's pretty good, but like Twitter, I think I could do in the background. So, yeah, if you guys are listening to the rerun and you want to hear the live stream, we do the live stream on the first Sunday of every month at 5:30 Central Standard
Texas time.
Texas time. I hate all these time zones. That's why I live in.
I know. We need to go like Zulu. Just everybody talks one time and then
universal, and then we'd be on point.
Whatever it is what it is. It's just a number.
And now Texas is talking about pulling out of daylight savings too, so that would just really rock my world.
Join Arizona.
Yeah.
Alaska, Hawaii, right? So.
Luckily, I have an app, or my clock on my phone will tell me because of Australia and all that. Okay. So one of the most interesting things to me, and why I, as a customer service representative, watch the sun every morning for what this energy is doing, is because it affects our brains. So go figure, but it's on the same waves, the theta, the alpha, all the waves that our brain work on. So there's a big hit to our cognitive abilities, to our ability to stay calm, to not get fired up, that kind of thing. So for me, that's important. And also, I need to know who I'm working with that day, right? I mean, if you already have some psychological issues going on, typically the CME activity is going to make that worse. It also affects our sleep, so it's harder to sleep when it's high CME activity time going on. And like I said, you have increased anxiety, depression, irritability. So that's just what you need when your whole world just fell apart, right?
I'd highlighted in your notes, you'd mentioned that it suppresses melanin.
The melatonin. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy the effects it has on you.
Right? And it's happening to, I mean, you can look at how many species have been washing up on the beaches, showing unusual behavior because of that magnetic pole shift and our increased amount of CME activity that we're taking as, biological beings on this planet, that a lot of things are being affected right now. So, it's a real deal. It's definitely worth checking out. Memory, focus, decision-making, all impaired.
Man, I could have used this back at school. Hey, teach, it's a CME.
Oh, totally. CME day. I can't function in this. I don't even know how. I could use that at work like all the time. It's been rough, man. Yeah. It's been rough.
I need a CME day.
Yeah. That insurance marketplace in California is not doing well at all.
Oh, my goodness.
It's been a rough place to be in. I feel like I'm in TJ Swenson's torture chamber during the day. It's the worst. Here, talk to this angry person. Here, talk to that. Great. Yeah. Your brain feels foggy. Your emotions are raw. You can't think straight. And it's not just humans. So, like, your dogs can feel it. Your cows might stop producing milk. So your game plan was to have these animals that you can rely on for your sustainability, but now they're all jacked up too. So, so it's kind of, God had a plan when he put us together. Go figure. And certain
no more happy
things,
cows.
Yeah, certain things have to work a certain way. So it disrupts a lot of stuff. It disrupts a lot of things. Okay, so we talked about like metal implants. Like if you have a titanium leg, you probably don't want to be out when the CME hits. I wouldn't. I don't know. The higher altitude, increased cancer risks, that kind of thing. So wouldn't it be cool to have a game plan before this stuff hits? Because if you're going to be affected mentally, the biggest way I've learned to be able to perform when under mental duress is to have a game plan ahead of time. So you can't be winging it at this time when your brain's freaking out, everybody around you's freaking out, things are exploding, stuff's on fire, water is not working anymore. It's not going to come out of the tap. The filtration systems are going to go down. You're going to need your brain about you. You're going to need a game plan. This is like the ultimate plan that now has to go into place. And I wouldn't recommend your plan only revolving around your family. You need to think about your community immediately, because the faster you guys can get your community online, the more people you're going to be able to save.
Well, the less stress focused at you from the community.
Right.
You
exactly.
know?
Yeah, because
people are going crazy.
Yeah.
The more people going crazy, the more chance of it impacting you.
Exactly. And then if you can get your community together, then you can help other communities get together, right? And then we're like America, the Great, instead of Mad Max, the crazy psycho land, right? We need our sheepdogs to be able to stand up. You got to be ready. You guys, you really have to be ready for this possibility. So we are talking horse-drawn carts and steam engines. So think about like what in your community can be put to work for energy production. I wouldn't even really rely upon the notion of having solar, because what's the likelihood that all of that equipment is going to survive that CME as well? There's a company, I'm not paid by them. I'm not sponsored by them. I've never used their equipment before, but there's a company called EMP Shield. And you can actually like plug this device into your house and things like that. And it's supposed to protect your home from a CMP or an EMP event. So it's the first piece of technology. Supposedly there's one for your vehicle. Now, who are you going after if it doesn't work? I mean, so you'd have to wait for the day. And but with watching what's happening with the magnetic shielding, the pole reversals, even if it's just a pole shift, it is affecting the magnetic shielding of the planet. I think we need to be ready for this, and we're just diving more and more into technology. So, like, that's always been one of my purposes in creating the Changing Earth world, is to show people how important our relationship with nature is and why it's important for us to not lose that at all. So we really need to make sure that that is something that we're staying focused on. How to grow things, how to put a seed. If you've never put a seed in the ground, you better get practicing right now. It is not like the easiest thing to do at all. So get practicing. Every day is your day to practice. How do you grow it inside? Get practicing. Typically, we have about 15 to 18 hours of warning before this event's going to hit us. We're monitoring that sun really, really closely. So we typically have time to be able to get your radios and whatnot into Faraday cage. You can watch for space weather predictions at I'll just say the names of the letters. Sierra Whiskey Papa Charlie.noaa.gov. Sierra Whiskey Papa Charlie at November Oscar Alpha Alpha.gov. Okay. Check that out. If it's coming and we know it's coming, like they just said, hey, it's an X5, X6 long duration and it's on the way, unplug your stuff. Like that's the best first protector of it. Use the Faraday cage, like a metal box or a microwave. You did, Chin, how do you do yours?
I've got a couple different things. I've got a metal trash cans, one inside of another, cardboard. I've got ammo cans with cardboard and insulation
the ammo
inside.
Cans. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got some backpacks that are shielded.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
You can be like out on the hike.
Got a couple gadgets. So I have a couple different ways to store them.
Oh, if the battery in the car was disconnected, would it be okay? So there's...
I don't think it's the battery.
Yeah.
I think it's the wiring.
Yes.
That acts like an antenna.
And
so
there's different fields of thought on it. Like some are like, well, if it didn't have a power
that's why the
source running
telegraph
to
thing
it...
was such a problem. And that's why you want to unplug your equipment, because all the wires, especially the above ground wires, are just big antennas. Like
to
all the
channel
power
that from the
lines
ground
strung across the neighborhoods and stuff. Those are all antennas that get hit by that frequency, by the the radiation
and then melt.
the energy, and then it transfers through that to your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they are
So
always
it's like
hot.
your radio works good with a little antenna. It works better with a big antenna. Well, think about your antenna being this whole thing around your whole like state, or nation. That's what's doing it.
Yeah, that's one of the big problems with it, and why we don't have all the answers as far as it goes, because the Carrington Event, they didn't have that much technology in place at that time.
Right.
For us to be able to go, yeah, that was affected. No, this wasn't affected. I do know that, again, I'll refer to Ben at Suspicious Observers. He built like the vehicle, the bug out vehicle that was supposed to be EMP proof. And I believe he removed all the wiring. It's just like your carburetors and stuff like that that don't have any of the electronic systems to run it. So that's why I always wanted to get like an old Chevy or something like that. But I would check out that Firewolf. I'd check out the EMP Shield website, because they have great information on it, and I know they have a device for your vehicle. So they must have a theory of what they're working on over there. And again, it's all theory, because we just haven't seen it in living color to see how bad it could be, or like, was it mitigated because of different things with the systems. So we are kind of in the dark on that one. Okay, so the real challenge in the aftermath, we talked about the technology, refrigeration. If you've got freezers full of food, you're going to have to do something about it quick. Start looking at there's lots of towns with water mills and stuff like that still in them. Those are going to be key. We have the brains to be able to handle this with basically being able to put technology back into play after this event happens, as long as it wasn't sizzled. So it depends on the impact, how bad that impact is. Of course, your foods, go to Changing Earth or preparewithchangingearth.com to get your long-term food supplies. Water, 1 gallon per day. The Waterful system, I'm still using mine. I really, really like the Waterful system. It stores like 300 gallons or something of potable water. Then I have different water for our gray water needs and things like that. Of course, your filters, and just knowing how to purify water to begin with. We've done quite a few shows on that, so it's going to be in the notes. Warmth is going to be important, and staying cool in areas where it's really hot is going to be important. Seeds, we're back into basics, guys. Like really basics. Seeds, your gardening tools, don't ever throw a tool out. It can always be repurposed. Your hunting, your foraging, remember that everybody else is going to be thinking that too at the same time. So be careful when you're out there. Your community, medical needs, start thinking about pivots right now. If you're taking a medication, there's probably some kind of herbal supplement for your medication, and yeah, it might not work as good, but it's better to have something than nothing. Mm-hmm. If you need like insulin, or you're on an electric machine, you really need to think about having a power supply that's in a Faraday cage, so that after the event, you can get that out to be able to use it to run your medical needs. I mean, people with the medical needs, it's going to be just that more important.
I wonder if some of these people, if they have like one for their house and then one for that they travel with, keep that travel device in a Faraday cage. So at least you have something. When it's not used, keep it in Faraday. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Basics of injuries, injury treatment, doomandbloom.net. Of course, Dr. Joe Alton, awesome individual. And also Dr. Bones in the audio drama. Great guy. He's got tons of info over there. Basic of mechanics, the electrician, that can actually help repair some of this stuff.
Get basics up and running.
That's kind of scary with the movement of society away from not our tech skills, our like welding and plumbing and electricians, our trade skills, right? A lot of the next generation is like, oh, we don't want to do that work, so we're not producing enough of those people to do that. So that could be extremely detrimental in this situation. Of course, like you could have a bunker. I don't want to die in the ground though. Self-sufficient homestead.
Food storage and preservation are at the heart of self-reliance. Our sponsor, Pack Fresh USA, features made in America products. I shop packfreshusa.com for Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers for my home food storage. But they do all kinds of products. Go to packfreshusa.com and check out their Prepper University and order their box set of Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. It's a 7 mil 100 pack of Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, labels, and even a food storage guide.
So the power is going to be your big issue. I would definitely look to some type of a water resource. If you have it, that's going to be really, really cool. Mentally, get ready, because it's going to be a wild run. So that is the CME, and that's why, you got to talk about these things. People are like, oh, well, if it happens when I'm alive, I'm just going to bend over and kiss my butt goodbye. Well, would you? I mean, really?
I'm not that flexible.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So, Firewolf, I say let's zap some stuff. Yeah. My husband's the same way sometimes.
Going to dry run.
Yeah, he's like, bring it on. Let's just go back. Everything's so screwed up anyway right now. And I hear you. It would be definitely, it'd be like Little House on the Prairie, but we know how to create stuff and we knew what it was. So maybe we'd get it back faster or something. I don't know. Cool little thought exercise though. That's for sure. All right. CME, one of my faves. I'm weird. All right, let's jump into Changing Earth news. Here we go.
Dream, survive, thrive. This is Changing Earth news.
Oh, isn't that cool? My new little intro. If you guys saw it on video, it's pretty cool. I was like, yeah, Changing Earth news. It looks so great. So we had some interesting things go on, but you know what? For Changing Earth news for a month, it was pretty okay, I'm gonna say. Some stuff happens. Well, I don't want to discredit the people that it happened to, but as far as it goes, it was all right. It wasn't like, oh, this bad horrible thing and then this on top of it, but we did have some interesting things, so let's get into it. Okay, May 5th, 2025. Heavy rainfall triggered sudden flooding across multiple regions in Israel, prompting emergency responses. There wasn't any mention of anybody that was killed from it or agricultural damage or anything like that. So that's good news. But some major flooding went on there in Israel. Got to keep your eye on that one. May 9th, 2025, we had a 4.0 magnitude earthquake hit past Pakistan-Afghanistan border. If you guys remember, that is the region that took that really big earthquake a couple of years ago. So that is still rocking and rolling over there. But luckily, it wasn't in any major populated areas. And, that other earthquake, they have the pancake buildings that when they go, they just dump, floor on top of floor on top of floor. So it can really be devastational. May 10th, we had a 4.0 earthquake hit Balochistan, Pakistan, near the Afghan border. So we're looking at the same area, kind of getting rattled. This was interesting, though. In Tennessee, a 4.1 hit south of Knoxville. felt as far as Atlanta and Georgia. That is because the eastern plate.
That's what we felt that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really did. Rod and I looked at each other. We're like, "Was that an earthquake?"
What? Or did I just drink too much last night? Yeah. Yeah. Or did I just drink too much last night?
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah, the plate is one big plate out there. So when you get big earthquakes like that, you're going to feel it. That could always be the new Madrid, kind of lighten up. What's cool, though, that I found was that as it travels down, so the North American Craton plate is in the middle of the United States. Stuff travels down to Texas and then up the other side. And maybe because of all the drilling in Texas and Southern California and whatnot for oil, a lot of the energy comes down there and it really stalls down there. Maybe we've created as humans like enough little like energy outlet points.
Oh, like a break point, yeah.
Right? To kind of help save the East Coast from some of that. So,
drill, baby, drill.
Drill. Drill. Make those holes. So you never know. Like that's definitely something we can have an impact on for sure. Because if you take a rock and put a hole in it, it's going to change the crack point when energy comes through it. Right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Beijing and Hebei, Canada hit with heavy flooding. News is always weak coming out of China, so we don't really know the implications of what happened there. May 12th, 2025, 4.6 magnitude hits Pakistan. Same area getting hit. 4.0 quake hit Chiapas in Mexico. Depth of 35 kilometers. Mexico is a little bit more built for earthquake activity. They're a little bit more used to the activity happening over there. And it was offshore. So, really tsunami worries there, but you don't get that till you're at like an 8 earthquake. At least a 6. Canlaon Valley volcano in the Philippines had an explosive eruption, and I also saw some cool activity out of Kilauea this last month. Up higher than it normally is, just shooting up higher than it normally is. Reports of a 4.5 at Fukushima in Japan. We don't like to see that. Wow. Hokkaido. That's got to be in Japan, 4.3 and a 5.0 in Yurikawa, Hokkaido. So those are all Ring of Fire. Ring of Fire has just been on fire. Except for the west coast of the United States, which, I don't know. That's interesting. Why don't we have the amount of activity that the rest of it has? Heavy flooding due to intense rains in India. No specific deaths there. Severe wildfire. They have started in Canada. That's what I noticed. On my wildfire research, it was.
I saw a thing about smoke coming down from Canada because of those fires, and it's going to impede the viewing of the lights. The
Northern Lights. Yeah,
because of smoke. Yeah.
The Aurora Borealis will be affected. Yeah, got you. I'm not surprised by that. For sure. After living in California, like you get summertime, that smoke just comes in and just hangs out for days. No wonder I wrote Dark Days in Denver. Like, that's what the sky was like outside. It's for real. Like, that's what happens. That's another thing about the CME. We get that much fire activity from stuff exploding. That's what our sky is going to look like. That'll drive you nuts just enough right there. 3 wildfires north of Savant Lake in Ontario grew to 2,000 hectares. That's about 4,900 acres. Forced the evacuation of Ojibwe Nation. Ojibwe. Oh, don't you know? I'm talking about Canada over here. How'd they get the name for Canada? They drew letters out of a hat. C-A-N-A-D-A. Canada. Boom. I can only say that because, like, a lot of my family's from Hamilton, Ontario. So much love to my Canadian viewers out there. May 15th, 2025, medium-sized tornado outbreak in the Midwestern and Southeastern United States. Once again, I praise the Lord. I got lucky on these ones. They went north of us. We did have some extreme storms this past month. There was some crazy cakes coming through Texas for sure. This event on the 15th produced 56 tornadoes over 2 days. And it's still pretty early in the tornado season. It is time for tornadoes, but still, that's a lot. EF2 tornado injured one person in Juneau, Wisconsin, in the United States. And another EF2 struck Mayville, Wisconsin. Prayers for everybody there that was affected. Fort Francis fire up in Ontario, Canada, reached 3,200 acres or 100 hectares. That's about 7,900 acres. May 16th, tornado outbreak continued. 10 tornadoes in the confirmed region, including an EF4 with winds up to 190 miles per hour in Williamson County, Illinois, alongside 2 EF3s and 4 EF2s. And 2 EF1s. Crazy time. No reported deaths from the event. Love that. But obviously there is some damage there. A widespread hail impact. I saw this AI meme of like extreme hail in Texas. And it was like the size of like snowballs that you would use to make a snowman like coming out of the sky. It was freaking hilarious. But we did have a big hail effect. 23 states affected. 2,883 cities in the United States, affecting approximately 1,230,000 properties, with hail likely exceeding a half-inch diameter as part of the tornado outbreak. No specific sizes or impacts reported. So I find that kind of hard to believe. I'm sure the insurance claim centers were lighting up there. Oh, we lost Chin. He fell out. Where'd you go, Chin? May 17th, massive landslide struck Marcella in Colombia, villages between El Nival and La Ceja, particularly damming the Lanona stream hours later, and a second larger landslide fully blocked the system, increasing the risk of flooding downstream. So what happens there is when that dirt impedes it, you just have water building up, and then later on you're going to have that water release. So that is an eyes-on situation happening there in Colombia. 4 more tornadoes confirmed in the United States, an EF0 near Morton Valley and an EF0 in Santo. 5 EF5 tornadoes from one supercell, try to say that 3 times fast, struck Kansas in the United States. There was a 155 mile an hour tornado, 140 and another 155, and then 106. These are just crazy winds ripping across there. Another tornado came down. No deaths have been reported and no significant agricultural damage. That's why I say this. I mean, we saw some damage from these events, but luckily we didn't see the high loss of life, which is always a blessing. Family of...
I have a question. Why would you name it an EF0?
Yeah, they happen in California all the time.
One?
It's so that people who have tornadoes that go through in parts that don't normally get them can feel good about, like, oh, it was really bad wind.
There was somebody that made out the whole list, and they're like, oh, crap, we forgot the, the 65 to 85 mile an hour gusts.
Right?
Oh, we'll just call them 0.
Well, we got the 90 mile an hour winds that like ripped my roof off and everything, but it wasn't a tornado, but it still did some damage. So
well, that should have been a 1.
Right? A something.
It didn't have spinning cyclone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be something to do with the rate of the spin.
Yeah.
We've even had, like at my mother-in-law's property, there was even like the trees were just in a spiral, but there was no actual tornado reported. But we know that it was a tornado. I mean, you don't get the trees to just all come down in a
You
forest.
sure you
in a
weren't
spiral.
watching like Disney's Fantasia or
No,
something?
no, I could have showed you the pictures. It was almost like reminiscent of like a crop circle or something like that.
Yeah.
So, Laki volcano in Indonesia erupted. I just like that one. I'm sure I'm
Sounds
saying
like
it so wrong.
a casino.
Yeah. Oh, we're heading on out to Laki, you know.
Good luck.
No way. No way. I got one of my friends, actually, a longtime friend, just moved to Hawaii. He's trying to get me to come over. I'm like, So another severe weather outbreak across the plains, United States, produced grapefruit size hail up to 4 inches in diameter. Yeah, and this was coming
That's
down
gonna
in
leave a
Dallas,
mark.
Oklahoma City, Wichita, parts of Kansas. So there was infrastructure damage there, probably some agricultural. And that doesn't move through without hitting some farms. We're still a little early, but I'm sure Texas is in full swing of actually planting because we just made a whole batch of peach jam yesterday. My tree's done, you know. That was fun. Like, I think we went for like 12 hours making jam yesterday. I'll bring you a jar at Prepper Camp. May 19th, severe storm struck along I-35 in Kansas. This is affecting eastern Oklahoma, northern Texas as well. So that was a big system that came through. Went north of where I am, thank God. Well, sorry for everybody else that's up there. I guess that's a little selfish of me to say. St. Louis, Missouri was hit by a sudden catastrophic tornado. And that was outside of the city, but still a significant event. Major floods in India. I believe they're coming into their wet season right now, though. Their cyclone season runs, I believe, pretty much in par with ours. Usually reporting on it at the same time. Massive hailstorm near, French. I got to do French now. Toulouse, France, with hail likely exceeding 1/2 inch in diameter. And another storm out over the Ozarks producing very large hail. So we are seeing that hail coming down now in storms. May 20th, we had an EF2 tornado went through Alabama. Severe flooding in Mapusa, India. No specific deaths reported there. Heavy flooding due to the overflow of the Po River in Italy. So they're seeing a lot of rain come down. May 21st, this is the day the huge landslide happened in Switzerland. Did you hear about that?
No,
Oh, what?
I don't think I did.
It's this huge glacier in the Alps, and it let loose, man. And luckily they had, they saw it was coming. So they evacuated a lot of the community, but that community has been there for a really long time. This has never happened in the history before. So this is truly an unusual event. Huge piece of glacier breaks off and just destroys the whole town. No immediate deaths and whatnot because they were on the ball. They were evacuating people and taking care of it. So, but you should go check out the pictures. It's crazy.
Wow.
There's a volcano erupting gold. This turns out this happens all the time. Is that legit? I mean, I've heard about diamonds coming out of volcanoes because of the tension down there. I would think people would be there like with their like lava pans or whatever going for it. I'm going to have to look that up now. I'm curious. That's why I read that comment that came in. I'm going to check it out. Flash floods triggered by early morning rain in Thailand. Thailand's been taking their fair share of disasters, so I think they kind of need a break. May 22nd, 2025, Hubei province, China. No specific impacts, but it was a huge event. So, like I say, it's kind of hard to get information on China anyway. Massive wildfires in Russia's, Zabakale, I'm going to say. Zabeakaile region. I think that's over by the Kamchatka Peninsula, but I could be completely wrong. I study way too much geography when things like that where it looks familiar to me. But yeah, so they're having some massive wildfires up there. Remember, we're not the only ones who've been getting hit with this crazy weather. So we did the show last month on the increased wildfire impact. Please check that show out. There's going to be really high fire. They're already starting up in Canada, right? There's going to be really high wildfire risk because of the severe amount of storms that have come through. All that fuel is down. So we need to be hyper vigilant this year about what we're doing as far as fire in areas that you probably didn't have to think about it before. I've lived in like Michigan where we can have a huge bonfire as big as you want and it's no big deal. And I've lived in California where it's like you can't even light, or put a cigarette down on the ground because you're going to light the whole forest on fire. So you guys got to be really hyper vigilant this year in areas that you might not have thought about it before. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. May 26th, 5.1 earthquake struck Hokkaido, Japan. Japan's really built for it, so they're good with earthquakes. The ability to forecast the earthquakes coming is getting way better, too, which is really good technology. Tornado touchdown near Maynard, Texas. Sandstorm or a haboob swept through Oman. No reports of death or anything like that from the event, but those are always crazy to see roll in and be a part of. May 27th, there was a 4.4 magnitude earthquake that occurred in Nicaragua at a depth of 99.3 kilometers. Extreme drought, they're saying, and I only bring up drought I mean, because they're like, oh, it's a drought and it's climate change. But the reason why I'm looking at droughts is because we have these two extremes going on where we're having a lot more flooding or severe weather right next to these areas that are having these severe droughts and whatnot. So same little area. I mean, Oman's only so big and they were one of the countries experiencing this. And Texas is big, but, they're the ones experiencing this. So, oh, that's cool. Going out to meet Ben at Observer Ranch. Yeah, he's got his new ranch. I love it. Love it. You guys got to check that out too. So that's why, anyway, I am into looking at these droughts. So extreme west of Texas is in a drought. And we've been having some big rain events both last year and this year. So I find that rather interesting. Like, what numbers are they really using for this? But that goes into like southern New Mexico and then the northern Rockies of the United States, which I thought was pretty interesting as well. 5 kilometers north of Manitoba, Canada. Fire up there grew to 7,000 acres. Oh, I just want to jump back to the suspicious observers real quick. They're having a speed dating event. So everybody who's single, and if you're into it, they're having a speed dating event out there, which I thought was kind of cute. If you're like, who else is in the know and where can I meet them? I mean, go check it out for what it's worth. So I'd like to get out there myself. It looks like a pretty cool deal he built at Observer Ranch. Okay. Multiple tornadoes, 27th to the 29th. One hitting Georgia. The Shoe Fire and Camp Fire in Saskatchewan, Canada, merged 240,000 hectare fire. Or merged into a 240,000 hectare fire. That's huge. That's like, 592,000 acres. That is a huge fire. That's like California scale. That's probably the one that's shedding smoke off in enough way to affect the viewing of the aurora up north. I bet you. Because those other ones are not a big deal. But that 592,000 acres, that's legit. That's California fire right there. Yeah. May 28th, there it is. The Birch Glacier near Switzerland collapsed, triggering massive avalanche, buried 90% of the village.
I posted that in Element.
Oh, did you?
I found
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty, well,
excuse me, Grok
cool.
found it for me.
But, yeah. Hey, Grok. I told Grok, I was like, you know what?
Buy me news stories on this.
Yeah. I was like, when the CME hits, Grok, sorry, man. So he was just like, oh, wow, okay. That's not good. Pelican Fire, Saskatchewan, that's like 2,000 acres, but 740,000 acre in Saskatchewan, another one. That is big problems up there going on, and that's definitely why it would be affected. May 29th, small tornado breakout. This was in Georgia again, EF2. Edith Lake, Alberta, Canada. They are having a 43,000 acre fire. Yep. Classified as out of control. No specific deaths, infrastructure damage, but that one's staged to be a big one. That one's right above us in the United States, if you're in the United States. Severe storm is hitting Chile, Pakistan, Paraguay. This is on the 30th, likely to continue the flooding in the nearby regions. Powerful low pressure system brought flooding to the mid-Atlantic and northeastern United States. That's the one that hit us, blasted up towards you guys. Flooding in regions like Romania. More tornadoes coming. EF2 tornado struck rural Washington. There's your EF0 in Loudon, Tennessee.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Rolled campers, damaged homes and barns, and injured 5 people. So, see, it was an extreme wind event. It just wasn't enough swirling to be the tornado system.
I bet you if you were in the EF0 wake, you'd be thinking otherwise.
Yeah, you'd be like, Jen, this is some serious stuff, man. Like, EF0 is a big deal. What are you're poo-pooing it? Like I said, ours wasn't even of 0, and it took our roof off. And it wasn't that old. It's not like it was only 4 years old. It's not like I had an old roof. Yeah, because we had it done right before we built the house, or right before we bought the house. So, report dust storm or Haboob in Australia. That one was pretty big. That happened on the 30th. I was actually watching that. That one was a pretty significant event. They haven't been able to get a break down there either. I'm like, oh yeah, Ellen, I'm sure coming down to visit. Wink, wink. Another more hail events. So I will be a heads up on the hail events. Watch your plants when that stuff comes through. Get them covered.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Get them covered because they will take it out. They do make hail netting, but I've seen it fail. May 31st, powerful low pressure system continued to impact the mid-Atlantic, northeast, heavy flooding associated in regions like Romania. So, yeah, that's not in the United States and Europe. Florida is going to get hit by the Saharan dust plume. That's coming up. There's supposed to be a double whammy. It'll bleed into Texas a little bit in those southern states. So everybody, but Florida is really supposed to get creamed by it. You'll see the opaque skies, and that might affect your view of the auroras as well. People on the East Coast, you're probably getting ready to be able to see them soon. Okay, and then this is the solar flare we're waiting on. It was a M82 solar flare from active region 4100. It produced a full halo coronal mass ejection. It was really kind of cool to see when you see the pictures. They use a camera that blocks out the sun, and then you can see the plasma spinning away from the sun. And when it's a full halo event, it is coming at the Earth. There's no question about that. It is confirmed to be Earth-directed. Expected arrival on June 1st, so that would be today coming in. Like I said, I did already see the spikes from it. They're predicting G2 to G3 geomagnetic storms with G4 watch issued for tomorrow. So that would be the trailing end of that event coming in at us. Another fire up in Canada. Man, see, that's what I'm talking about. We got to be careful with our fuels this year. It's not going to be good. That one's up to 77,000 acres in Ontario. That's right above New York and that. So that's going to be interesting. Manitoba is also getting another one. And they're all up there. All the wildfires burning except for that one in Russia. That was a big deal. South America seems to be doing pretty well. That was good because they lost too much last year in wildfires. June 1st, the dust plumes are supposed to come in. The CME impacts coming in. Cluster of hail producers are moving towards the north by Oklahoma. I think we got that storm here this morning. Wasn't a very big deal for us, but our area is kind of where a lot of things start. I like start it and send it off to the rest of the country. As far as volcanic activity, we had one more earthquake added to the overall list, but we're down one in erupting. So last month we were at 39 erupting volcanoes. This month we're at 38. But we added one to showing minor activity. So that one's up to 41, and we added one to unrest as well. So we're still at 103 earthquakes on the planet showing activity overall, which is really high.
103 volcanoes.
103 volcanoes, yep, showing activity. There was like 29 was my max for years. So that's why my head's still like blown from this to see that many. Earthquakes, we had 19,609 earthquakes that were 2.0 or greater. Only 1,136 of those were, that was last month. So that's our last month's number, 1,136. They are decreasing this month. So I like to see that because that could indicate we're going to see some of the volcano activity kind of step down. We'll see if that's accurate next month. But only 18,784 earthquakes that were 4.0 or greater in May, that were 2.0 or greater in May, 1,131 that were 4.0 or greater. As far as the United States wildfire activity, we are at a level 2. I was kind of surprised by the level 2 rating because we don't have that much burning, but maybe they're getting ready for the wildfire season. Maybe they're kind of seeing what I'm seeing as far as the amount of fuel that's on the ground and just the risk being super high. Hopefully, I don't know what it's like across the whole country. We've had some ups and downs already, but our start has been pretty wet and pretty mild. We did have some way hot weather too early, but it came back down. It hasn't been too bad. What's it been like there, like compared to your typical?
It's been all over the place. It got hot, and then it got almost cool, chilly, like highs in the low 60s for the days. And then even it was like 40 degrees in the morning a couple times. And then today it was back up. I think it hit 80.
To warm again. Interesting.
Yeah.
How about you guys throw it in the chat? What's anybody noticing like any weird patterns? I've been out here in Texas on some crazy hot weather. So for it to be June 1st and we're still kind of floating, the humidity is always a factor. So at least we're not like 110 with 105% humidity already. That's what nightmares are made out of. And the wildfire situation would be extreme if that is the case. That's what I'm afraid of, is it just heating up. And we're going to have to be really careful in August and September. Okay, so preparedness level 2, sorry, total tangent, went off. 3 new wildfires, 10 total of 26,251 acres on fire in the United States, which isn't even close to what Canada's reporting. Minnesota is actually number 1 on the list, which I thought was crazy. They're never number 1 on the list, but they are number 1, 16,104 acres. But see how I said that? They're never number 1 on the list, but they had a lot of ice storms that came through and broke the trees.
Yeah.
And all that fuel's down. So it's going to be crazy. Oh, what kind of what disaster apps do I use? Okay, so great question. Let me finish this real quick and then I'll address that. Number 2, Florida fires, 3 acres on fire. I'm sorry, 3 acres on fire. Just 3. 3.
It's just a cookout.
Yeah, they're having a couple barbecues. 3 fires altogether, 4,816 acres. Those are all new fires. None of them are contained. Oregon has 1 active fire going, 1,776 acres for the West Coast. That is like a cookout. That's a tiny fire. New Mexico, 2 active fires, 1,604 acres. So again, for New Mexico, that's not really huge. Okay, so let me address what disaster apps do I use. So I'm kind of old school and new school mixed together. My phone is literally a brick, so I don't know if you can see it, but all I did was go in and be like, I want a phone that doesn't break. Because I am so hard on everything. I break everything. So that being said, my technology there isn't the best, so I don't use a lot of apps. I do, what's the one that you hooked me up with a long time ago? It's not the best for sure. The My Radar, right?
Oh, yeah.
My Radar. It's just kind of a minimum usage. I'll listen to the NOAA radio because of Chin, and then we get the alerts and whatnot. But when I'm doing research, so I'm all over YouTube about it, on what's going on YouTube, use Grok, use Twitter, and then I have Google alerts set up for extreme weather events. So when they go off, I get a list of from Google of what's going on with the wildfire events. As far as sites I could direct you to specifically to check out some of the earthquake numbers, because earthquakes are hard, because the USGS will actually change a lot of the numbers. And so my preference, this is just me, is volcanodiscovery.com. And here we go. This is the link to go check out and follow the earthquake activity. And I found them to be really, really accurate. So I'm a fan of Volcano Discovery. They don't generally change things up too much. And then they have really good cohesive lists of what's going on. And then Volcano Discovery is also what I use to monitor which volcanoes are erupting currently. So this is really cool. And I watch it to make sure that Vesuvius and Pele aren't on the list together, because that's from prophetic lore. That's when the West Coast of the United States is going to see a lot of bad things happening. So those are the 2 that I use the most for earthquake numbers, for volcano numbers. All of my news just comes from me monitoring the net. And then this is the site that I use for tracking major wildfire activity. And I just started using that one when I was in California, as an insurance agent, to be able to track what was going on. So there's the links so that you can also follow along daily to check out what's going on with our planet. Another really cool site is called Zoom Earth. And on Zoom Earth, you can track like the cyclones easily and weather patterns, and it lets you do time overlays, and you can do it globally. So, I mean, that's pretty darn cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so you can turn on like precipitation or wind only, temperature, humidity, like you can look at all that, but like you could go over to Russia. That's how I know some of the, like the names and that, because when you go and watch weather patterns, and especially like how things roll in and out of Indonesia and then hit Madagascar and Africa and all that. So yeah, those are some of the programs that I use, and I've been doing it for a little while. So those are just the ones that I found to be really reliable, good information. Oh yeah, I used to watch Dutch Sense as well for earthquake forecasting. He's more hit and miss. He's been having some of the issues with them trying to block his content. My advice there would be if you've been watching Dutch, then you understand some of the flows. If you've never watched Dutch before, go watch some of his old videos on how the energy moves around our planet. And then you can have the heads up of as far as like, oh, we saw the earthquake activity happening up in the northwestern part of the United States towards the Cascadia. We know that energy is going to come down to Texas and then transfer around. Obviously, it's not a perfect science by any means, and they're still trying to get better at prediction with the electrical activity fingerprints before these earthquakes happen. They are making progress, but if you know the patterns of how it moves, it kind of gives you like a little bit of better idea of when the earthquakes are going to happen, and then you can kind of check it out. Yeah, crazy accurate, but you can't predict earthquakes. Yeah, and that's why they shut him down. It's a bummer. Really smart guy, and so he does pop up now and again. And I should see if I could get him on the show. That'd be a lot of fun to reach out and get him on the show. But we can talk about that. But anyway, we've had quite a show tonight. And it's been a blast because CME, and I get to visit with Chin, which is always very high on the list.
I'm liking this Zoom Earth site. This is a pretty cool site.
Right? Yeah. When I found that one, I was like, so good. Because you can go back in time, and then they will do like a little bit of a predict forward, not a whole bunch. But yeah, if you haven't checked out that Zoom Earth, it's pretty darn neat. You can see the wildfires and stuff there, like when they start up, and you can see the activity start to come from them. Really detailed stuff. It's incredible. So, yeah. Alrighty, guys. Well, don't forget to be on the lookout for the interviews I've been doing. Like I say, each one's been so cool and so rewarding, and little different tidbits out of every single thing. So check those out. We got, for the subscribers, we're going to have episode 1 to 4. Got to be a PBN subscriber. Got to be a Changing Earth subscriber. Either one will get you there. But season 5 of the Changing Earth audio drama will be a special drop for all you guys ahead of time. Check out everything that's going on over at ChangingEarthSeries.com. We're always having fun. And if you want to come learn from me, get your tickets to Prepper Camp. Come on out to North Carolina. Say hi. Come over to my self-defense class. Come over to my anti-kidnapping class and learn some stuff, and we'll get her done. If you have an interest to have me out to your area, that's something that I'm opening myself up to the possibility of doing. So just feel free to contact me on ChangingEarthSeries.com. I'll probably be out in Abilene here coming up, out teaching over there and meeting with book club and whatnot. So if you're, want me on the schedule, just reach out and we'll see what we can do. You can reach me. You can find out all that information. You can reach Chin at ChangingEarthSeries.com. If you have any questions that are technological as far as the radios go and the Faraday cages and things like that, Chin's your guy. Yeah, I'm not fielding those ones, man. That I know about how the planet's rolling, not about all that technology stuff. So, alrighty, guys. So until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for listening to the Changing Earth podcast. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and leave a comment or a review. Help make the Changing Earth world go around by purchasing the Changing Earth novel series at Amazon.com or get your signed copies at ChangingEarthSeries.com. Get your Changing Earth gear and become a paid subscriber for extra goodies at ChangingEarthSeries.com.